Hi everyone, so this little video is a video designed to help you move better through your hips, to strengthen and restructure the muscles on the underside of the foot. We have 4 layers of muscle, 33 joints and 26 bones that unfortunately get compressed by shoes a lot, and it's also to help your spine move better. A lot of us happen to sit in chairs these days, and we also put our feet in shoes, and those two things alone are going to cause massive problems through the knees and the hip joints. And I do have other separate videos on that with much more information. I'm not going to go into that today for the purpose of this video. This is just to provide you with a couple of different movements that won't take you very long to help stabilize through the hip joint, strengthen the muscles in and around the knee, so specifically the VMO, the vastus medialis, on the inside of our knee joint, and of course, one you've probably heard about a lot, possibly from your physio, your glute medius muscle. All right, so over time and in sitting, this glute medius muscle can become really, really weak because we sit in chairs a lot, and we want to really try and strengthen and restructure the muscles of that glute med, so that when the muscle is tight, what that's going to do is provide hip torque, right, into our hips, and it's going to create the joints. It's going to help stack the knee joint over the ankle joint and open up the muscles into the open up the bones into the hip here because the muscle is tight, providing this in the rest of the body. The weak glute medius means that with weak muscles in the foot as well from wearing shoes, everything's going to start to collapse inwards, and you add phones onto that as well. And we end up with a stance that, 1, is not great for our confidence, 2, terrible for our spine, and 3, not where we're meant to be. So when we strengthen the muscles in the glute medius and we rework on restructuring those muscles of the feet, we can actually find that we have a much stronger, much more confident, and a much more stacked posture. So the first one that we're going to do is simply single leg balancing. So with that, there's a couple of variations that I'm going to show you today. So what I recommend with this video is this won't be in real time, it's just giving you the exercises to then do in your own time. I would work with approximately 30 seconds on one side and then 30 seconds to the other side. And when you feel like you're nailing that, start to move towards a minute, and then we're going to add on some variants. So we want to keep a soft knee bend into the standing foot, and I'm on the tripod of the right foot. So 60% into the heel and 40% into the ball of the foot here. And just, the toes are just gently resting on the ground. They don't necessarily have to be picked up, but I want you to really feel that structure. And then all we're going to do is just start to balance on one leg. Now, use a surface to put your hand on if you need to, if this is brand new to you. Crawl before you walk. That is a really important thing to do. Rather than try and go all out straight away, I want you to really use what you can to help support yourself. So you'll notice that I'm almost coming into a bit of a squat here, but again, you just work with what you need to here to really start to find this first point of balance. So approximately 30 seconds on the right side, you'll notice that I'm just letting my left hip move around the joint. And again, this is a really basic but not so basic exercise, especially if we're not used to balancing. And then of course you'll do 30 seconds on the other side. So softening the knee, tripod of the foot, and then eventually in time you'll find that you can find a few more different shapes. And you'll notice that with my leg going out one side, my torso and head have to go the other, so that I'm staying and finding this place of equilibrium and balance. Cool? So that's the first variation, that's where we start. Secondly, if you're finding that easy, you can get yourself a hard yoga block. And I'm standing on top of the yoga block. Sorry, find some space where you can see me here. So we use either a cork yoga block or one of these strong yoga blocks here. And I'm again finding that tripod of the foot. So by elevating the stance now, I'm actually increasing the intensity of this a little bit. It is a little bit harder for me to balance on top of here. And what's going on in my ankle stabilizers is all this movement in and around the joints. So all my stabilizers now are working really hard to keep me on this block. I can really feel and see the muscles on the underside of my foot really starting to work here. And I'm just playing, I've got a door behind me, but just with my hip rotation here, you know. And again, use fingers on a wall. Try to keep it really nice and slow. I'm going to come out of it there. I did some legs this morning. I'm definitely feeling it. But of course, right side and then left side. Working up to 1 minute, all right? So from that progression, there's another variation into this one. So what we're going to use is 2 Jenga blocks, right? So with the Jenga blocks, what we're looking for here is to, and I'll just pop it down this way, you don't need to see my face, plop them like a Japanese slipper, right? One on the heel and one goes on the ball of the foot. And this time you'll notice your toes will spread, right? And then from that part of the foot, what's actually happening is I'm really now working the muscles in the arch of my foot. Again, when we're putting our feet in shoes, they really start to collapse. So this is such a great one for re-strengthening and restructuring all the muscles in that underlying side of the foot, especially if you have to wear shoes or you sit often. A great one for leg strength as well, and you're trying to keep your upper body really nice and supple. Again, that's the 3rd variation. You are going to really start to feel your glute medius really fire up when you start to work into these ones as well. So that is your 3rd variation with that. All right, so you can get those Jenga blocks from anywhere. I think those ones are just simply from Kmart. So the 2nd exercise to help strengthen through the glute med, right, is working with, again, a yoga block. And if you need to hang onto a wall here, then do so. We find the tripod of the foot, fingertips on the wall if you need to. We have a soft bend into the standing leg that's on the block. And then this back leg goes out about 45 degrees toe on the ground. And we're going to try and lift slowly, squeezing the bum on the right side as I lift, whilst maintaining a single leg squat on the left side. So super slow. And again, the block is really just helping strengthen those muscles in the feet, providing a little bit more instability. You can do this on the ground, of course, but you'll notice, again, just that extra bit of work through all the stabilizer muscles and the underside of the feet. So of course, I would recommend 8 to 10 repetitions on the right and on the left into this one. Use a door if you need to, a wall if you need to help maintain balance rather than fall all over the place. Super important. So we're going to just do a hip stabilization exercise now, just to take it out of the glutes for a little bit. With your yoga block, this is a cat crawl. When we have the block on our back, we can actually understand what's going on with our hips. So the knees are stacked under the hips and we're going to lift off those knees slightly. Your eyes are just forward and trying to maintain a really nice flat back as you start to crawl forward really slow. The knees are quite low. The eyes are looking in front of your hands. And I recommend starting with 30 seconds. The block, of course, has 3 heights. So start with a height where you can maintain keeping it on your back. The belly draws to the spine. And we're looking at trying to get that contralateral pattern, so opposite hand and foot every single time. Start with 30 seconds and then work up to a minute on that one. Cool, the last one that I wanted to do is just some hip rotations, and I'll just make sure that you can see my feet here. Again, we're going to stand on one leg and we're going to inhale out to the side. Exhale, internal rotation. Inhale, go around the joint, and exhale, come back up. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, and breathe out. So I'm also working a squat here as well. So beautiful one into the hips. So slowly coming it around. And then the backward motion to that. So out, around, and circle. So again, I recommend probably 5 of these. Start with maybe 3 forward and 3 reverse. And then do the same on the other side. And again, just practicing balancing the openness of the hips here does not have to be huge. Remember, you can do this really little like this. So just starting to retrain that hip joint, right? Our hip joint is a ball and socket joint. It's not a hinge joint, which is unfortunately what it's been trained to be in the world we live in today. So just working on finding a smoothness, not allowing, if we do get frustrated with this or if we find it really challenging, that is a beautiful teacher for us to be gentle on ourselves and practice this movement more. So keep it really little, keep it slow, and be curious, not critical, about how you move. And then we start to really retrain and restructure the muscles in and around the joints. We find better longevity into our joints and we have fun along the way. That's the most important thing. So remember, you are entirely up to you. If you're finding your body is becoming stiff and rigid from the Western world of sitting and wearing shoes and not moving, then really start to do the things that make you feel good. Look after your spine, your joints, your health. I do have on my YouTube, and I will put the link below on this video, a video onto our joints and better movement, which is a really nice practice shared to me from my own teachers. It's not my practice, none of this stuff is, which has really helped my spine move so much better, increase my back bend capacity, open my heart, and find a sense of fluidity and softness. So please like and subscribe so that I can continue to bring these videos to you. I so appreciate it. And let me know how you go on your balance and your strength work into your hips. Have a great day.